Yeah, it is the credential because what's Resolution 2025.
There you go. Anybody didn't get one there before. Yeah.
We have it, proposal to replace 9C with the documents that Dana handed out. Otherwise, the agenda stays the same. Exact. Anybody have any further changes to that? Oh, this is just approving the agenda. Well, because it's a closed section public comments for thing. Is this all? I don't know. Okay, so that's not. The 9C is. 9C is not tonight, it's not.
Right, well, that's what, I'm just saying that that's.
Oh, okay. Well, then you guys want to do that. Okay, and then we'll close public comment on agenda items up to the beginning of the accommodate that I'm doing. We'll do. If they're all at 9C, it's 9C. Right. All right. Well, we say okay. So do I hear a motion to approve the agenda with the submission of slipping this a new 9C in at the 9C document and moving public comment for action item 9 up to the beginning of the meeting to accommodate all our community that's here. They use their speakers. Do I hear a motion here?
Oh, yeah.
Do I hear a second? I'll second. I have a motion made by trustee McLaughlin, seconded by trustee Colgrove to approve the agenda with the substitution of an updated 9C document from the old one that's in the packet, and also to move public comment on action item number 9 up to the beginning of the meeting. All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none. Our agenda is approved. Okay, well, do we have any public comments specifically on closed session items? Okay, if you could go ahead and state your name and give us your comment. Marceline, you're the only one for actual closed session items.
My name is Marceline Norton. I'm a Hoopa tribal elder. And as a previous tribal education director for 30+ years for the tribe, I worked closely with the Climate Treaty Joint Unified School District to improve the educational services for all students and provide tutorial services in the classroom and after school. I'm always interested in following the student education for the district. So when I read the agenda last night, I have questions concerning the proposed reduction, elimination of these positions, and what is the overall plan. And if the plan was discussed with parents, staff, and other key individuals. For example, if the intent is to close a school, was this discussed with parents and community members of that particular community? What is the justification to possibly close a school? Considering that many of our students may still be experiencing anxiety from COVID, the extremely low test scores, and especially disabilities and special needs, education and special education needs, I'm particularly alarmed with the reduction of or elimination of services that seriously impact the needs of students. Especially, number one, the 3 positions of instructional assistants for severely handicapped students. I understand that these positions mandate a certain number of students per staff member and the severity of each student's disability and special needs. What are the legal requirements? And is the district in compliance or will be in compliance with the elimination of these positions? Are the rights of parents and children being met under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, Part B, and the California Education Code? I think that is very, very crucial that the district be in compliance with these requirements. The 2 positions of outreach coordinator, the English language paraprofessional, and 4 positions of literacy paraprofessionals and intervention monitor. It appears that the elimination of these positions would definitely impact student needs and place more responsibility on teachers, whereas the district has had difficulty in filling teacher positions. Lastly, I also want to recommend or include I think the 6 other positions that has just been handed out. And lastly, the elimination of a bus driver. While I understand the district already has a shortage of bus drivers, I respectfully recommend that prior to the school board making any final decisions on the elimination and reduction of staff, that the overall plan be discussed with parents, staff, and other key individuals. I also recommend that the school board use some of the large reserve budgets to maintain these positions rather than impact student needs. And funding is the reason. And I understand, I really have been following what is happening on the government side, but we don't know exactly what that's going to be. Thank you.
Okay, Joe Davis.
Thank you. I'm Joe Davis. I just found out about the situation about 2 nights ago. And I understand that, when things aren't going great, you have to make changes, and I understand that's kind of part of the goal here is to kind of take things up and create different opportunities. But I would just ask tonight that maybe we pump the brakes and maybe put a 30-day pause to do more research on this and look at other options and just have a plan that is shared. Because one of the things that strikes me, and I found this study from MIT, it's Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and it says that these types of cuts disproportionately affect communities of color when they do happen. There has been a correlation between reduced grades, the less staff members you have per student, the lower the grades go. And so one of the things that strikes me about this list is you look at a lot of these are the same type of position. You have 6 or 7 instructional assistants, really handicapped aides. One that's maybe full-time, the rest are part-time. And then, understanding that many of these positions have gone vacant for such a long time, and that's a big part of it. What if we were to somehow cut the number in half or cut it down to a quarter, but increase the pay for those positions so that you're combining your money and that will make it more competitive to actually attract people. So instead of getting rid of 6 instructional assistants, cut it down to 3, increase the pay for each one. And then you can actually hire 3 assistants rather than cut 6, so just, or have a plan to show like what the savings will go towards as far as the ultimate, and I say that with a grain of salt, because. I really honestly, I haven't been keeping up with everything here. I just found out about this 2 days ago, and so I don't know all the details, ramifications of what was behind this decision or what led up to it. But just a little more time for information sharing with the community so that they understand the overall intent here and plans and the benefits, the pros and cons of it all.
Thank you, Mr. Megan Baldy?
Hello, I'm confused. Are we going into the public comment time? Because we were in, the first one was the closed session time, right?
No, we opened, yeah, it was actually an action items, item also, so we'll just keep going.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Thank you.
So thank you guys for having me here tonight. I was informed about this a couple nights ago as well. And so it came to my attention, and one of the things that was really troubling about what was going on was that they were cutting RSP teachers. I had 3 students in the resource program almost throughout the whole time that they were in school. I actually was able to, with 2 of my students, they were able to be exited out of IEPs and 504 plans. And that is attributed to the teachers at the school. They worked really hard and they worked really great with my students. We were able to exit one of my kids out of an IEP last year at his recommendation, and because the scores were meeting the level. And that was really important to me that we had the resource teachers available to be able to do that, because they were able to track his IEP plan, personalize it to him, get him to the level that he needed to be at. And he was actually above grade level by the time he exited out. And that's a tribute to our staff and our teachers, that has been a benefit for me. As a kid growing up, I went to school out Eureka. I was told by my dad that he put me in school out there so I can get a better education, because Hoopa school wasn't that good of an education for me. And so I hated it out there. I disliked every moment of my life being out there, just because of the fact that I didn't identify with anybody out there. When I came back to school here in the 6th grade, it was the best time of my life. I got to be around my cousins. I got to be around my family. It was super amazing to come to school here. And so when I had kids, I decided that I wouldn't want to take them out of this school. But I know that sometimes kids have disabilities or they have learning, they learn different than other people. So when I identified that my child was not learning the same, I got her involved in an IEP and I got her into a program. I learned the disability laws. I learned all the things that I need to learn to be that advocate for my daughter, to get her to have a great education here. She graduated through the A through G track. With an IEP, she had a 504, and that 504 helped carry her over into her career that she has today. When she took the bar, she was able to use that 504 plan to be able to take that bar. So the RSP progress that she received here at this school helped her, and she's successful in her career today. The same with my other child, that if they didn't have RSP, I don't know where they would be at, but they got a better education here than they would have out of their community. And I attribute all of that to our resource program and the staff here. So I just want you to reconsider that, because those are success stories that this school has, and so I appreciate you guys listening, and I hope that you reconsider all of these vital and critical positions. I go to the school a lot. I go to the elementary, I go to the high school. Usually there, either volunteering, sometimes I'm there to correct a kid or to be that auntie mom that I need to be and support the staff there. And I think that's why a lot of the staff have contacted me and called me because they know that I'm a support of them because they are amazing people. They do a lot of great work for our kids in our community. And coming out of COVID, we have a lot of issues. I see it at the school, there are a lot of behavior issues, and the staff is doing the best that they can. And these key positions, like the outreach coordinator, is vital to helping to bridge that time that we lost from COVID over to, right now, because we have a lot of kids that are, having issues with coming back into a communal situation and being able to talk to one another. We live in a new generation with technology and kids don't communicate as effectively. So all of our staff is very key into helping our kids to communicate effectively with one another and just to become those outstanding adults that we're working on hard for them to become. So appreciate your guys' time. If there's anything that you guys need from me, please reach out. I'm want to help as much as I can to support our schools and to be able to support our kids.
Thank you, Megan. Frankie Myers.
Queenac now, Frankie Myers, Management Chuck Schragon. Thank you for allowing us time to come and talk to you today. Obviously, this is an incredibly important issue for all of us here who have kids who attend the school, but for our entire community. We were having a conversation earlier today about schools and the national politics and looking at government as a for-profit corporation and thinking about what a school is and what a school does, what our school system is intended to do. The product of our schools are good people, good community members. That's what we produce. That's our product, and that's our number one product. And I can say, having gone to this school system, it does a good job. Throughout the years, me and my wife, and even recently, have had many opportunities to leave this area. And every single time it has come down to the education that we want for our children. And time again, it was this educational system that kept us here. Because we knew that you cared about our kids, that you cared about our children, that you had staff who were invested in our kids, that took the time and cared about their education and were able to allow them to be successful. And it's many of these positions that are on the chopping block tonight are the reason that my older kids are successful and moved on. And maybe in other schools, they wouldn't have been seen as individuals. They wouldn't have been seen as the potential leaders that they are. But here, that's how we see our kids. We see our kids as potential leaders. We understand that they are the future of our community. I also understand that we all have difficult decisions that we have to face, and budget times are never easy. They're always hard. They're always hard. And they're not hard because we have to run numbers. They're not hard because we have to balance budgets. They're hard because your budget reflects your values. Your budget reflects your values. What do you care about? And we can have good mission statements and we can talk phenomenal conversations, but at the end of the day, where you invest your money, where you allocate your funds is a direct reflection of what you care about and what you value. Now, maybe you all ran for office because it pays really good and the benefits are phenomenal and you get kickbacks. Maybe I ran, but I don't think so. I think you ran for this office and you put yourself out there and you take negative impact from your community day in and day out. And you do it because you love these kids. You love our community. I understand that. That's why you're doing it. That's why you sit here. That's why you listen to our public comments. That's why you show up every day. And I'm asking in this time that we live in now, where there's so much uncertainty, and we hear it every day on the news about positions getting cut and the impacts that has to our communities. This is happening right now. Now, a lot of time I don't pay attention to national politics because it's usually just a bunch of talking heads saying the same talking points over and over again, and it really doesn't matter. But the politics that matter are right now. This is the level of government that affects every single one of us. And not just us here today, but in the future as well. There's times when you have to take a risk. There's times when you're not always sure you have the funding to cover everything. And you might need to dip into those reserve accounts. And those decisions aren't easy. They're not easy. And you have to decide when it's appropriate to do that. From my perspective, looking at where our country's at in general, looking at where our county's at, and looking at where our community is at, I feel like now is the most important time that we take a risk and we invest in our children now. Now is not the time to pull back. Now is not the time to lessen the infrastructure of our community and our investment in our community. What I would love to see is for us to be bold and to have faith. And what we always talk about in our house is trust in our medicine. You do what's right, and good things will come back. That's not always easy to do, because if it was easy, we'd do it all the time. And if having faith was easy, we'd all have faith, but it's not. And it's easy to trust in our medicine when everything's good and our budgets are fine, and it's easy to have faith when we can see the road ahead of us. But I implore you to think about that now. Take a risk. Give us another year. Go into those funds if we need be, because I can only assume the only reason that someone would lay out such cuts is if it was budgetary reasons. Because when I think about the school my kids go to at Jack Norton, they are flourishing, and their grades are exceptional, and their test scores are improving, and their product is good. The teachers at Jack Norton are producing a phenomenal product. So it has to be budgetary. But we do have a reserve. And it's times like this that we have it for. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Haley Aubrey.
Really not a public speaker. Kind of stuff actually makes my stomach hurt. But I care that much about what's being proposed that I want to address some things with you. So I'm here speaking on behalf of the tech department, a team that you're proposing to reduce by 20%, cutting us from 5 positions down to 4. I just want to say a couple things about what we do. Since July 1st, we've closed over 300 tech tickets through just our ticketing system alone. That probably represents maybe 1/4 of our overall requests that we receive. The remaining 75% come from phone calls, emails, people just coming in saying, please help me figure this out. Those aren't just numbers, those are real support needs that our staff and our students need to be able to function in our district and to be able to do their job and to be able to understand what they're learning in the classroom. So the work that we do is increasingly essential, and the staff that provide those that support are critical to keeping everything running efficiently. I'm deeply concerned that these decisions were made without any kind of input from anyone in our department. No one from the district has reached out to understand how these cuts might impact staff, students, or the department's ability to just maintain technology in our learning environment. If you have not been informed, let me share some of the likely consequences that these cuts will do. Number one, the one-to-one Chromebook program that's fundamental to our students' learning will have a direct impact on the speed that we'll be able to get those Chromebooks out to kids in the beginning of the year. There's a ton that has to go in before they're prepared. One less person doing we give 8 hours of our time from the time we come back just getting those ready. They will not be done at the same rate that we can do them now. So you will get those in the classrooms later. They'll also have to be returned earlier at the end of the school year so that we can prepare to do damage checks, be ready to recommend what the need is for the next year. There'll be slower resolution times for site-specific issues. Each school site has its own technology setup, different network configurations, different ISPs, all of which that take different skill sets to navigate. Just one example is our classroom AV systems. They're different not only just from site to site, but from wing to wing because of the construction phases. They have completely different platforms, hardware, different components, different ways that they are set up to work that we have to know how to navigate to be able to fix the problems efficiently, get the classrooms back up and running. So losing a tech, those kinds of things will take longer. We'll lose the expertise that person has performed because in a district this small, it doesn't matter how big the district is, the technology needs are the same for a huge district or a small one. The cybersecurity, your users' functionality, all of those things, the requirements from the state, they're the same. You might have more users, more students, but the requirements to keep us running are the same. So if we're losing somebody, that technician most likely has an expertise in 20 different things that they are responsible for keeping running. Now, those duties will have to be absorbed and learned by the remaining techs. That's going to take time. There's going to be increased frustration for teachers, staff, and students. We will not have time to do preventative maintenance practices that we do now. And in the long run, that will cost more money. All of the new support with new technology and the growth every year, we're adapting new educational tools. We need to be able to learn how to support the people that will be utilizing that. So the steps to train them, set that up, keep that ongoing, that will be affected. There's going to be increased pressure on the staff that remains. And then also there's going to be less support for all of the increased educational services that we're outsourcing to companies that need to rely on our internet connection to provide services to our students. So the bottom line is that these cuts will impact the functionality of our entire district's technology infrastructure. And it's important to note that while the technology department may not always be visibly present, that's a sign of an effective and productive structure. When the department is adequately staffed, technology runs smoothly. Problems are proactively addressed before they become major issues. And disruptions are minimized. But cutting staff means that we will not be able to perform at the same level of service that we support you at now. Technology is ever growing. We're relying on it more and more every year. The site tech positions have value, and they need the support from the you board members. I ask you to remove the site technician position from the list of positions to be cut, and I urge you to consider the long-term consequences of these cuts on our district's technology infrastructure and the educational experience for our students. So I'm here to advocate for our tech that's proposed to be cut. But I also do want to say while I'm up here that we are housed at the high school. I personally see how the SPED department is helping our students at work. It's a lot like Orleans. It seems like last year when those were the cuts that were being presented, Orleans is a great school that runs really well. The high school is the same way, and it seems like when something works well, the district tries to take it down to the bare minimum because if it works well, I guess maybe you don't need all those people. But I don't believe that. So I just want to say that I think the SPED services at the high school, I hope that those cuts are also removed. And then I also, one more, I worked at MTO for a really long time, and I was there when we had 3 mechanics to keep our buses safe on the road, running proficiently, and there was 3 of them. Ed has been the only mechanic for years, and he's been doing a great job. But removing that potential mechanic too, so that the help that he would get, you're removing the potential for him to, get some help. I can't get behind that because those buses need to be safe when they're rolled down the road loaded with our kids. So in ending, I just want to say that we cannot, as a district, accept the standard for our kids being waivers for higher classroom sizes, chaos and breakdowns. And I hope that you will take that into consideration.
Rhonda Tripp,
Hi, my name is Rhonda Good, and I am a tribal member, social worker here for like 20 years. I am an IEP mother. I did not know any of this was going on. My son graduated last June and I thought I was done advocating for IEP students. I got emails, I got calls, DMs, people asking me to come speak, so I'm completely unprepared. But I would like to share a little bit about what that experience really is for families. I'm standing here looking at many people that I've gone to war with, simply trying to get my son diagnosed, trying to get him the resources that he needed. Many of the teachers here and administrators here hate to see me coming. I'm that mom that's going to enforce the IEP. I'm the mom that's going to get progress reports. I'm going to make sure everything on that IEP is happening, and if it isn't, we're going to get together and reevaluate it. I can tell you it's been a full-time job. When my son graduated in June, I almost didn't even know what to do with myself. I've actually gone to counseling. We talk specifically about all the extra time I have from IEP processes. I literally have hours per week, at least 5 hours a week that I now have available to do what? I don't know. My 18-year-old moved out and I spent all this time babysitting. I can tell you one thing, the one thing that I've never seen is enough resources in IEPs. Every single element has been strained. It's not that these resource teachers and the support staff to them aren't giving it their all, they are. But each child requires an individual approach. I call like this one right here, cookie cutter kids. You can teach her one way. She's gonna ace every subject and be at the top of her class. My dyslexic son worked 10 times harder than any other student just to pass. So I don't think any of these positions that impact special needs children should be cut. As a social worker, I find it disgusting that the one population that seems to be impacted the most are those with the smallest voice. I have a problem with that because these children are vulnerable. A lot of these conditions they're predisposed. They run in families, especially dyslexia. Which means many of the parents and families may not have the capacity to come advocate for their children. That's why I'm willing to come here unprepared, is because I have a voice and like I said, I thought it was done, but I'm not. And it exceeds every element of the way. I have a degree in social work. I graduated in the top 5% of my class, and I could not effectively advocate for my child. What does that tell you? When a trained advocate, college, top of my class, cannot advocate for the services my child needs. It was just one thing after the next, constant stress on the entire family, on my son, between the teachers. Do you think those teachers enjoyed teaching my son after I showed up at an IEP and said, why are you not following this? I sat in Jennifer's office. Well, 2 of the high school teachers, one of which is here, refused to follow the IEP. Refused. I could have had a lawsuit. The Office of Education out on the coast told me I could sue the school, but what good would that do? He was graduating within a year and a half, and the penalties would only tax the school and make even more of an issue for these IEP kids to get the support they need. Dayton, who's now 18, he had a problem from second grade clear till he graduated. I knew something was going on in the second grade. The teachers in this room that I fought with, because they were saying he's lashing out in class. He's refusing to do his work. I would like you all to know there's a huge difference between not doing work and not being able to do the work. That is why these positions are so important. I did not have that much respect for resource staff like I should have. I appreciated them, but I didn't fully understand the scope of what makes them so special until COVID happened. That brought the classroom into the living room. I got to see the resource teachers interacting with Dayton. The resource teachers have to be able to handle any subject 20 different ways. Do you know how difficult that is to replace those type of staff that have the ability to do this? I was completely blown away by some of his resource teachers' ability. They look for physical cues. They are tuned in, they know body language, which is what's necessary because some of these kids can't really explain what is going on. Any kids, you take them to the doctor, they don't know what symptoms they have. They need somebody to be intuitive, to pay attention to those things. You have to have staff to do that. They don't get a lot of one-on-one time also, like Dayton did not get any one-on-one time ever once he went to the high school. And he kind of like got lost in the mix and it was even more work to get things done. Hoopa Elementary did a great job at prepping and in fact, he got nominated for Student of the Year. That kid didn't get any resources from second grade to seventh. That my kid got ready for school every day with a good attitude and went to school knowing he was 2, 3, 4, 5 full grade levels behind every subject. I'm sorry, but that does get to me because the school's own psychologists, when they had to fight and finally get an actual evaluation, a psych eval. Of course, they're looking for all the reasons why at home he's not succeeding at school, but they didn't find it. What they found is he had higher scores with family life that exceeded married couples. And me and my ex-husband were divorced, but we co-parented better than any family I've ever seen. So that got ruled out. But by then, 5 grade levels, and they said he's motivated and he wants to learn. He has a positive attitude going to school. He wants to please his teachers and he wants to please you. How do you get ready every day when you know you're going in there and you do not understand anything going on? There's nobody to go to. You can't go to the principal. You can't go to the teacher because they're putting you in detention for acting out when you're overwhelmed and overstimulated because you don't know what's going on all day. But you're going. He was showing up, going to school and falling more and more behind. By the time he got to 7th grade, he finally got validated. And it was because of the No Child Left Behind Act. Who knew George and Barbara Bush would be the ones to save my kid? But that is what happened. Old legislation finally kicked in that forced the school to throw out a new diagnosis, and they had to develop a plan to help him catch up. That kid caught 5 grade levels up in 1.5 years. And Miss Moya can take all the credit for it. There was other support staff that were great, but he had to work so hard. And that just shows what happens when you do get the right match for these kids. They want to learn. They don't like going to school knowing that they're behind. I've been a student. I wasn't a great student in high school. I know what it's like to go and not understand anything, and I didn't want to be there. But there are many kids that show up to school every day. They need these people to keep them motivated and help them feel like they have a fighting chance. I also just want to say quickly, there's a huge difference between warehousing kids and passing them grade to grade, which happens to a lot of IEP students. And there's a difference between them actually receiving an education where they can stand alone. Dayton's very successful. He moved out of state. He's been employed, he's passing all of these tests that are required for his wildland fire training. And he only was able to do that because of the supports he got in Cleveland Elementary and high school. None of these resource positions can be cut. If you guys could show me even one parent that says they have more than enough resources, we've never had a problem getting what we need, then I could understand this, but this is absolutely crazy to me. So I would encourage you to think about the population impacted. Think about how the social justice element here, what it looks like. And then we're at the bottom, Native Americans are at the bottom of every spectrum, including access to education. And that goes across the board. If you can't learn, how are you gonna know how to be healthy, how to good habits, how to learn, how to work? It's all essential to how well they do after they're out of school. And the reason I'm such a nightmare is because I fought for my kid to actually get educated, and he did. And by the time he was on the high school side, he was doing grade level work, which is some modifications, so maybe like 5 out of 10 problems. And Molly was very key to that. I know a lot of Angel and a lot of people really helped Dayton get by. And I would also just like to say, this school system has, like what Frankie Joe was saying, like that sense of community and the commitment. My kids lost their dad. She's lost her bio dad and the dad that raised her. This school has, because they had staff, many of these positions, not even resource staff, because of dedicated teachers, administrators, they all stayed in school. In fact, school became part of their peer network, protective factors, helping them have something to keep life going, something to look forward to, getting encouraged by their teachers, staff, friends, and it helped keep them moving. In fact, it was the only thing that they did outside of the house for a long time. So when you're looking at these, I understand I'm not a business person, but I am a mom and I am a social worker. And I would just heavily advocate that you really put the faces and the families into consideration when you're looking at these jobs. And I would support a stay that would allow maybe some town hall meetings where you're getting feedback from focus groups, parents, from IEP that say these are the things that maybe you could redesign the system to be more effective. But I just want to say, like, I cannot handle the shopping happening to the IEP kids. I am, obviously very emotional because I'm here subjectively. I'm here to speak from the heart, and Dayton himself, I wish, anybody that knows him, he's like monotone and low key. And when I told him what was happening, he couldn't believe it. We said, are you serious? Why would they do that? So, I mean, if he was here, I would have drugged him here to speak for himself, but he's not, and neither are a lot of these kids. So please think about the children that are impacted before you decide what to do. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Lucy Locke and I am an RSP teacher at Whitman Valley High School. I just wanted to give a little background information in case that your decision maybe didn't have this information when you were going into it. Education code dictates that caseload for resource specialists has a cap of 28 students. And just at the bottom, it also mentions that at least 80% of the resource specialists within the local plan shall be provided an instructional aid. Ed code law. Our current caseloads at the high school, mine is 28. I'm at my cap. Molly, my counterpart, the other RSP teacher, the position being cut or being considered for cutting is at 22. Our special day class teacher, her caseload should be around 13 to 15, and she is at 18. Our numbers are not declining. Our numbers are increasing. What's that?
Can you repeat the
The caseload numbers?
full day load?
So caseload number is not talking about class size. When it comes to special ed, class size is not dictated by anything other than what is best for the students. Our caseloads are split up into 6 periods a day. With a caseload of 28, I have class sizes from 10 to 5. But those are needed in order to provide one person with 5 to 8 kids their complete individualized education plan, as well as the strategies needed to give them their instruction so they can access education. My caseload number is at 28, that is the cap. Molly's caseload number is at 22. She is 6 under the cap. That means that any returning Captain John students will be pushed onto her caseload as mine is at full capacity. Ramona's caseload, Ms. Sokolow, special day class, she is above her suggested cap, and she cannot service the resource population. She is dedicated and needed for the special day class population. I have, in my 15 years here, as a Hoopa High graduate, had the pleasure of watching my colleague, a former Hooper High graduate, get my counterpart job. For the first time, it felt like we had a team. And if you look at our graduation rates, our seniors graduating. We are not losing children. Our programs are getting our kids through high school and preparing them for either the world of work or the world of college. Some of you have had children in my class, or relatives in my class, or relatives or children in Molly's class. And if you really think about your experience, I hope you know how valuable our positions are. And that not one person can be given a dang near 50 student caseload. It's against the law. So with that in mind, in case that information wasn't privy to you, I want you to think about the legal ramifications of this kind of cut. We would be leaving half of the resource population unserviced. Myself and Molly O'Gorman have been responsible for shielding this district from countless lawsuits. Countless, including some parents that are in this room. When I got this agenda and saw that either my position or my counterpart's position was on the chopping block, it was like a hit to the stomach. I felt like after 15 years of service, coming back to the high school that I graduated from to give back to my community, as did my counterpart, Molly O'Gorman, felt like maybe we aren't the kind of employees that are important to keep here. And it hurt. It hurt my feelings. It hurt my connection to this community. And I'm speaking here for my colleague, who is a mother of 2 at home.
She's here.
Right there. Mother of 2 at home, fighting breast cancer right now. Standing here for her. She's not a public speaker. She does not like confrontation. But boy, does she take care of her kids. We love our kids. We are envied by other teachers because we have this amazing circumstance and ability to connect with our kids and create lasting relationships. I still have students who are in their 30s who call me on the phone. I am godmother to one of my students' daughters. I have been at their weddings and their funerals. I take great pride in what I do, I feel like I am one of the luckiest members of Hoopa High for the job that I get to do. It is hard and thankless, as many of you may know. But this week, I have gotten nothing but support, encouragement, letters, people, students here to support us and what we do. And in that respect, I'm going to read to you from a former student who was significantly behind in reading and writing. To whom it may concern, my name is Jesse Goodwin Jr. and I'm an HVHS graduate. The concern of which I would like to address in this letter is the possibility of termination of Miss Molly O'Gorman RSP teacher position. Although I was not a student of Miss Molly's, I was a student of Miss Locke's. I can say with confidence that their positions are instrumental in the success of students with learning disabilities to successfully navigate high school and its challenges. I myself, early on in my educational career, experienced some learning difficulties. I can personally say that no teacher has ever left an impression that can top the dedication of educators who work in special education. My heartfelt sympathy goes to educators like Ms. Locke, who had to navigate the challenges that they were presented with during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially to those who, like me, had to navigate the added challenges of learning disabilities at home. However, the moment that I can confidently say sticks in my memory was the dedication of teachers like Ms. Locke, who continue to work with students who decided to continue their learning at home, rather than risk catching COVID at school. It felt like teachers would prioritize those students who had returned in person. I remember once the order had been given for students to return to campus, communication with teachers dwindled and became difficult. I had questions with no responses or answers. However, it was teachers like Ms. Locke who continued to actively work with students remotely, students on site simultaneously. For the last 2 years of my high school career, Ms. Locke has become my primary teacher. She added the workload of gathering my materials, turning in my assignments, and working with teachers to maintain the open lines of communication. My family and I are indebted to teachers like Ms. Locke, and without them, many students might not have finished high school with a complete education preparing them for college. Without such teachers like Ms. Locke, Mrs. Molly, Mrs. Sokolow, success for Indigenous and non-Indigenous students with learning disabilities would greatly decline. We shouldn't punish these teachers with the added stress of being laid off or fear of losing their jobs, which they have dedicated, in most cases, years. It is, in my opinion, that losing such a valuable asset to the school would only impact the students negatively and does not present any advantages or benefits for those who attend HVHS. He ends with the quote, "For the mind does not require filling like a bottle, but rather like wood. It only requires kindling to create in it an impulse to think independently and an ardent desire for the truth." Yotwa, sincerely, Jesse Goodwin Jr. One more letter from another student that sent it to my phone. Forgive me for using my phone. But she is my student who has named me godmother of her daughter. This is Macy Gates. She says, cutting resource classes for students with IEPs would significantly hinder their academic success. Again, a student with severe writing and reading difficulties. These classes provide essential support that is tailored to meet the unique needs of each student. You've heard that here tonight. Ensuring that they have access to the appropriate resources and accommodation necessary for their learning. Removing these classes could lead to a decline in academic performance, decreased engagement, and an increased dropout rate among students who rely on these vital programs to succeed. Resource classes offer a safe and supportive environment where students with IEPs can receive individualized attention from skilled educators. These educators are trained to understand and address specific learning disabilities, and they can adapt teaching methods to suit various learning styles. For many students, this personalized approach is the key to unlocking their full potential. Without these classes, students may struggle in mainstream classes, where the pace or the style of teaching may not align with their learning needs, leading to frustration, acting out in behavior, and a lack of self-confidence and esteem. Furthermore, resource classes often provide additional instructional time to reinforce the concepts that are taught in their general education classes. This supplementary support helps students to grasp complex subjects, which may otherwise be challenging for them to understand in a regular classroom environment. It also allows for more time to develop critical thinking skills and personal executive functioning skills like organization, team management, self-advocacy, which are crucial for academic life and success. The removal of these classes would strip students of the opportunity to build these essential skills. My personal experience as a former IEP student highlights the importance of these resource classes. Throughout my academic journey, I faced numerous challenges due to my learning disability. However, resource classes provided a lifeline that enabled me to thrive. In these classes, I received the individualized support and attention I needed to contribute to the subjects. Small class sizes allowed for more one-on-one interactions with the teachers who were genuinely invested in our success. They taught me how to leverage my strengths and work around my weaknesses, ensuring that I was not left behind. Moreover, resource classes fostered a sense of belonging and community. And if you ask any of our students, you will hear the same thing from them. They feel safe in our room. This camaraderie was invaluable and helped boost my self-esteem, giving me the confidence to participate in class and strive for academic excellence. In conclusion, cutting the resource classes for IEP students would be detrimental to academic success and personal development. These classes play an indispensable role in providing tailored education that meets the needs, the diverse needs of students with disabilities. As someone who has benefited greatly from these resources, I can attest personally to their importance in shaping not only academic achievements, but also personal growth and empowerment. It is crucial that we continue to support and invest in these programs to ensure that all students have the opportunity to succeed and reach their full potential. So those are just a few examples, living examples of our success, of our role in helping them be successful. Thank you for your time and your consideration. Jordan Healy.
Folks, as you know me, I'm Jordan Haley, I'm the current acting vice chairman for the tribe. More importantly, I am a tribal member, community member, and father of 4 tribal member children. One who's already gone through the school successfully and is now at Stanford University, getting straight A's and starting a psychology degree. And a big part of that, I believe, is from some of these positions being there and helping out. You know, what Frankie Joe touched on a lot of what I was thinking of is, you know, how you shape your budget, you know, says a lot about your priorities. And, you know, the welfare and the learning ability, anything we can do for our kids should always be the highest priority. As someone who sat on the council and knows and has been, you know, budget stuff is always tough, you know, and I get that. And with the looming uncertainty with the new presidential administration, believe me, it's overwhelming me every day. I get it. So I get, you know, wanting to keep some of that money in reserve, but at the same time, if we have it there and we can use it even just to buy a year to try to get a game plan going, to figure out some other options or alternatives, I think would be the best route, in my opinion. I mean, most of you in here are a lot smarter than me. but just trying to do whatever we can to keep going. My younger kids, you know, seem to be doing pretty good. My oldest son is in his first year of high school. And, you know, some of the people, I was looking at the positions and asking some of the staff for the names. And I mean, some of those people are the highlight of his day. I mean, they're the ones that keep him pumped up and going on some of the classes that he may not like, or maybe he's having a tough time and steps out, cowboy or whoever it may be. You know, they're just very loving, passionate, committed, empathetic people that are there for the kids. I mean, you can just, it vibrates off them. You can tell they're there for the right reasons. So I really hope that we can find a way to, you know, make this work and figure out a way to keep it going, because there's no more important thing in the world than our children. And to me, there's no more important job than being a teacher. I mean, you can't get doctors, you can't get lawyers, you can't get presidents or anything without having a teacher first to teach them. So, you know, anything and everything we could do, I really like the idea of maybe having a couple community meetings, and let's sit down and have some working meetings and help you all out. I know the council would be willing to come in and help in any way that we can. But you know, these are for our kids, and then our poor kids, we live in such a trauma inflicted area that, you know, most of these kids, you know, go through so much, and their, you know, place of safety and certainty is the school, and the school staff becomes, you know, their other family, sometimes their main family. And, you know, having as many as we can there, I think that's the better. You know, I hear from a lot of the school staff and, you know, my own children, you know, how short staffed it is, whether it's on the high school side or the elementary side especially. And so, you know, decreasing these numbers and taking away, I just see a very damaging snowball start to take form, and I just don't want to see it head that way. So anything we can to try to prevent that, I think is imperative. You know, I know these decisions aren't made lightly, but when it comes to our children, we should be willing to do anything and everything we can as a group and a community. And I, for one, I'm sure as well as most of the people in this room, would be willing to sit down, and if we can help in any way to figure this stuff out, you know, we really need to try, because these poor kids go through a lot. And they've, you know, with COVID and just everything, they've already been through so much in a short period of time. Taking away any people, personnel, resources that help them get through their day, you know, and are setting up the foundation for their life, could be very catastrophic in many ways. And so I just hope that we can try to find a positive solution to this, whether it's extending it, dipping it into the reserves, or whatever it may be. But, you know, fighting for these people that fight for our kids. You know, we're all busy. A lot of us have, you know, jobs that take a lot of our time. And, you know, I myself take for granted how much the school does and the teachers do. You know, I've been really lucky and had some amazing teachers with my children, and they go above and beyond. And, you know, most of them are still friends with them. You know, I mean, it's amazing. I never, you know, growing up, I didn't move back here until I was a freshman in high school. So I never had that. You know, but I mean, even to this day, one of my son's biggest heroes, and one of the guys he looks up to most, Mr. Page from Tilton. I mean, he thinks the sun shines out. I mean, yeah, you know, so, and there's many teachers and, you know, staff and different personnel over there like that. And I just would hate to see any of them go. If anything, I think we need to be trying to find a way to increase the numbers, not decrease. So again, I know when it comes to budgets and finances, you know, unfortunately, this country doesn't supply the education departments like they should. And hopefully that will change. I doubt under this administration, but hopefully in the future. But just anything and everything you can do, I think would be, you know, amazing and appreciated, and anything we can do to help, you know, as a community, as a tribe, as individuals, we're here to help. So just, I hope you guys can kind of take that into consideration, and thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Julian Serber, I'm sorry. It's okay.
I didn't come here prepared. I was taking the whole time. But my name is Julian Server. My name is Julian Server. I'm a senior at Holly High School. I plan on majoring in psychology and being an advocate like I am now. But never I can be up here, and I shouldn't be up here, you know. But But I just came up here because I wanted to back everything that they said, because everything like, because I'm like, firsthand like experiences, all these problems all the time. Like, not having enough resources, but just to look at my notes, what I've been writing down. The responsibilities on teachers is unfair. It's just like, yeah, the responsibilities on teachers is too much, and they should honestly be paid more. And it's like, it's always been like that, like the teachers had like short end of the stick when they like are so valuable, and it's like personally, like after I become a psychologist, I do plan on becoming a professor, like a professor, yeah. And like honestly opening up a rehab of like, not opening up a rehab, but working with other rehabs of like, just like bringing back to my community. But I'm like speaking from the heart, like it's all I can do. And it's like, let me just take.
They need to hear.
But Frankie, Myers, like, is that you? Did he leave? Well, that voice, that's exactly who I want to be. Oh my God, he's such a, like, yeah. Inspiration. Yeah, inspiration, like, that's exactly who I want to be. Like, he has such power. It's like, I'm sorry, it's like everyone's emotional, and it's like, that's what connects us. It's like, if you take that connection away, like Lucy Locke, like right here standing next to me, she like, just recently, my senior year, we had a connection. And it's like, I want to have like someone here rubbing my back if I didn't like, you know. It's like, I'm not a shy person, I'm like I'm intuitive, I'm like a feeler, and it's like, I'm not built for exactly this world, you know, it's like, it's not, you know, it's like, it's even harder that I'm native, and it's like, I'm gay, and it's like, I get judged for that, and it's like, you know, it's not a safe place when I go to school, like sometimes, you know, and it's like, I have teachers I can like go to, and like, I can like have a voice, I do have a voice, and it's like, the reason why I can stand up here now, and it's like, if I didn't care about like, I'm doing this because I care about my teachers, I do. And it's like, all my teachers, like Paige, when he was like my 4th grade teacher, yes, like right now, I have a little brother, he has ADHD. I mean, he's in my freaking, Becky Kate's class right now. And it's like, it's like, and he's like, she has been like wonderful, and it's like she's the first teacher who ever told my little brother that he was doing well. And he's brilliant. Yeah. And she can see the kindness in him. She's not judging him for the grade mark on his test the previous year. She's judging him based on the character of wanting to do more, like bringing back to his community. Like, I have little brothers who are planning on to go into high school, and it's all dependent on me, you know, because I have a single mother at home. My sister is basically like the dad to like my income, and like, you know how much like it's way deeper. Like, the iceberg is way deeper than it's just like cutting funding, you know. You need to look at it way deeper than this, because I'm an introspective person. I look deeply into things. And I feel like everyone who had a voice here to say, like, it was all truth. It was like, I didn't see nothing like bad. Like, it was like, why would you want to cut like these people from like my life? Like, these are like such resourceful people, like everyone, like this, like meeting them today, like even in this room, like I came here to network. I came here to build my record of self-advocacy. And I feel like, yeah, I can like talk on anything. Like, ask me a question, I'll answer it. Like, if you want to know what my home life is like, I'll tell you. Like, because like, and the resources I don't have, yeah, I'll tell you. Like, but it's not out there on the public, you know? Like, when you're going on, like driving near my house, I'm not out there like freaking, you don't see my struggles. Like, the disability laws really do affect my the resources teachers here really do affect my future of my brothers, like with having ADHD. He doesn't have enough resources at home. I can't be his father, and he doesn't have a father. He's like, they're almost like, yeah, that's why I think they should get paid more. Like, it's like, yeah. And I do have way better plans, like, and that's the thing, like with just like what Megan Baldy said earlier, with thinking that maybe, oh, maybe if I move to Eureka, or maybe if I'm like get my brothers out to Arcata or something that moves them out of here, they'll, you know, they'll have a better chance at succeeding or something like that. But they have no other people to identify with. Like, it really should be like, I don't want to move off my reservation on land just because it's filled with like not enough diverse resources. And it's like, it shouldn't be like that. And I believe change is possible.
Good job, Julian.
Hello, my name is Sydney McConnell. I'm the guidance counselor at the high school. I have a lot of questions about the proposed cuts. So I brought some data that Lucy had the same data, so I don't need to share that with you, but my question really is, what was the plan when that cut was put on the agenda for how we were going to be compliant with that ed code?
Yes.
You have a right to speak. We have a right to listen at this.
Okay, so you guys
Yeah, we're
don't
not here to answer questions.
Okay.
But you can bring that forth and we can get you an answer.
Okay, so that's a question I'd like to know. What was the plan to meet the caseload needs and comply with ed code in regards to the RSP position? The way these were written on the agenda, it doesn't say what site the outreach positions are to be cut from, and those jobs are site specific. So I'm wondering how you can vote on an item when you don't, do you guys know what site they're being cut from? The board?
Yes.
Both, the public is not allowed to know,
Who's the L?
so they're both group out. So Hoopa L would have no outreach.
Wow.
Is that correct? There's 3 positions, 3.33 from the high school, 0.33 is voluntary, so I don't think that needs to be addressed. We know one is the RSP, but the other 2 positions aren't stated what they are. So what programs would you guys be cutting with those 2 positions? It just says 2 teachers, it doesn't say what they teach.
They're vacant.
We don't have 2 vacancies. Jen Silva sent the vacancies out, there's 1 Spanish teacher vacancy.
We'll check into that if you want to keep going.
Okay. I'm just really curious how you vote on something when you, do you know what you have the information that you're voting on?
Too small of a community to be quiet, superintendent.
Okay, so in regards to our enrollment, so our enrollment projected for the 25-26 school year, these are real students, real data directly from our student database. Projected to be 279. We currently have 255. At our current staffing, we have 5 classes that are currently over contract limit. How are we going to absorb an increase of, for next year, when we already aren't meeting our needs, and then have teachers cut on top of that? So that's a question. How would we meet our enrollment needs with these cuts? Assembly Bill 101 requires high schools to implement ethnic studies graduation requirements in the 25-26 school year. This is a 0.5 position, 3 sections. That needs to be implemented in the fall. We've known this has been coming for several years. We currently don't have the staffing for it. We were thinking that the vacant Spanish teacher could be turned into this and then also address the classroom overages we had from this year. But that vacancy is now one of the positions slated to be cut. So I'm wondering how we would comply with that assembly board for the additional graduation requirements. I plan to stay to listen to the second interim financial report, so some of my other questions might be answered there. On page 73, reserves for the 25-26 school year are predicted to be 34.9. That's up from 34.1 this year. So if our reserves are going to be higher for next year, why are we looking at cuts for next year? I do see in the following year, they will be lower, down to 27. The county mandates, is it 4%? 8 is cushy. We're sitting on 34. So I do understand that doesn't mean you can continue to spend as we're spending, you know, cuts will come at some point. But do they need to be next year? This feels like a knee-jerk reaction to me, where we haven't had a committee, we haven't had town hall meetings to really go through our district's budget with a fine-tooth comb and see how can cuts not affect direct services to students. Every cut on this, the classified and the certificated, it's direct services to students. So there's probably other places, our contracted services line item, which is in the second interim, is off the chart, $5 million. What are those services? That's obviously not something I expect you to answer right now, but definitely a curiosity question. My recommendation would be to use a portion of the reserves to buy us a year and come up with a plan that doesn't hurt kids. This plan hurts kids. And this plan, we will not be in compliance with ed code. So I'm not understanding where this is coming from. I'm also curious what our ADA is showing an increase for the second interim. What is being cut, or what funding is being cut? It's in the report, it shows a positive.
Yeah, and that's coming when Carmi does her report.
Okay, so I hope you'll take these considerations, or these questions into consideration when you guys are voting on this item. Thank you.
Ramona Sokolow.
I was actually planning on coming here before I had this agenda and just talking about some specific needs at the high school for special ed, but then this list came up and it shifted my thoughts. But so I'm Ramona Sokolow, special day class teacher at the high school, and I want to clarify, we have an umbrella of special ed here, and every school district does it differently depending on their needs. So here we have equal amounts, probably, but resource and special day class. Okay, so those are two different programs. Then there's speech. Those are just what we have. Other schools have the TLC, which is a behavior special ed program. All right. So elementary has special day class teachers and resource teachers. High school does as well. Smaller schools like Orleans Elementary just have a resource teacher, and the kids, regardless of their needs, mainstream. There's pros and cons to that, as we know. And so special day class teachers teach core subjects, English, math, I teach readings, intervention. So we all get this broad perspective of what's going on in our schools, you know, based on where we work. Anyone who works in the school system gets a perspective. I look at this list, and I think because my group, I've taught work experience, we've worked in the cafeteria, we do the recycling, we've done gardening. I deal with everybody. I deal with maintenance, which is also the bus drivers. I deal with cafeteria people because we're volunteering in there, and these are all people who have direct ground level contact with the kids, and they're crucial. Every single person is important to these kids. So anyway, here's the reality at the high school. We inherit everybody from all the schools, all the feeder schools. We inherit them. Special ed is growing, it's not shrinking. And I wanted to talk to you about why, but we don't have time. So it's growing, not shrinking. So if positions are cut, then we're going to be lacking the services even more. I work so many late hours, it's embarrassing, up till midnight doing paperwork so that I can teach and serve my kids during the day. But today's an example that I want you to know behind the scenes. I had a kid I had to test because he's absent every other day. So I have trained my coworkers, the classroom aides, And so I had one work with my group so that I could test the kid in another room. There's constant managing and juggling that we all do. I see it with the tech department. I see it with everybody. We juggle so much. We make it look easy. I think we make it look smooth. And that's what then gives the illusion that, oh, they're doing okay, they don't need as much. And that's not true. I feel it. My health is impacted by the stress level of working so hard every day, but we do it because we love the kids and the rewards. You know that, okay? So special ed's growing at the high school. So if positions are cut, instructional aides, not only at the high school, the kids aren't gonna get help. What I'm seeing is the elementary level. If they don't get the support they need, not only in special ed, but in intervention, tier 2 intervention, which really needs to grow. Special ed will continue to grow. So that's one level, you have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Special ed's tier 3, that's the last resort. We're not having enough tier 2 intervention. Okay, so special ed's growing because of that. So the more we cut the people, the less help the kids are gonna get. And at the high school level, we're gonna get kids with more behavior problems, more mental health issues, and more learning problems. So statistically speaking, it's more expensive to cut. That's how I see it. So when I started at the high school, there were 2 special ed teachers. Now there are 3. And I have to tell you, the way it's growing, just talk with our school psychologist and how many incoming like preschoolers she had to test this year for special ed, 13 if I believe. That's way more than usual. So it's growing. So we need more services at the lower level, not special ed, but tier 2, which is intervention. Anyhow, I was actually just coming to say that at the high school level, there was a reduction in hours and we're an hour longer than the elementary. And my classroom aide was docked an hour to match the elementary. And so she's not here full day. And I tell you, I feel that every day. I feel it every day when I need to prep or do something as a teacher and there's a kid that walks in and needs help with the test or to have it read to them or whatever. And she has been an incredible person. Now she makes about $400 less a month. And so she had to get a second job to support her family. And she's still constantly thinking of quitting, but she loves working with the kids. The stress is affecting her as well. I have 2 new workers that I've been training, valuable. I can't keep my workers because they're not paid enough. When I've said this before, they all said they could make more at McDonald's. I wish they wouldn't say that. I wish we'd pay our staff more, our special ed, our classified. I wish we pay our classroom aides and our classified more so we could keep them. When I first came to Hoopa High, I had classroom aides and one-on-one aides that were in their 50s, 60s. They retired with the position. Now we're getting people in their 20, in their 20s. I train them, they leave for a higher paying job. So anyway, there's this trend I'm seeing at this school. And I know there's money is a concern, but I feel that if we really wanted to invest in our community, if we wanted to improve in the socioeconomic situation in our community, we would pay them more and we would not consider cutting positions. But also if we want to invest in our kids, I'm just worried about the mental health of our kids when they get less help at the elementary because it grows and by the high school, they're smoking, drinking, and having sex. And it gets worse. So what I see when I see cuts, I see it getting worse at the high school. And it's already worse since COVID. It's really hard. Kids are tougher. So anyway, I think I'm saying a lot and much, but just looking at this list is kind of overwhelming because I see every person being so important for our kids. So I hope that you guys can wait. Let's have some meetings. Your administrators, they know what their schools need. Your department heads, they know what their departments need. They're experts and no one's lazy here and no one's selfish. We just know what we need to really have quality, product or educate, quality product or quality service. And I see myself as a public servant and we all are. And so our kids are our clients and we just need to always make them number one. So I have some ideas of other ways to say, I figure if we gather all the minds together, we can come up with other ways. So that we won't cheat our kids of what they need.
Rico, tell them.
Today I'm just gonna read through my things, but I don't wanna take too much of your time. I have a lot to talk about, but So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today on behalf of the KTJUSD Technology Department. I come before you to emphasize the critical importance of maintaining our current staffing levels within the department. The workload we manage is immense, and any reduction in personnel would significantly impact the efficiency and effectiveness of technology services provided to our students, teachers, and staff. Our department is responsible for the management and upkeep of over 2,000 devices across multiple sites. This includes student Chromebooks, staff laptops, desktops, interactive displays, network infrastructure, and countless peripherals essential to daily learning and operations. Ensuring these devices remain functional and secure is not just a convenience, it is a necessity for the success of our students and our educators. Beyond hardware management, we are also responsible for maintaining and supporting a vast ecosystem of software applications. From educational platforms and student information systems to cybersecurity tools and compliance tracking, our department ensures that these programs function seamlessly, allowing teachers to focus on instruction without disruption. Managing these systems requires constant oversight, troubleshooting, and coordination with vendors, adding another layer to our already demanding workload. Additionally, we must adhere to the strict state and federal compliance regulations. These mandates include data privacy laws, cybersecurity requirements, accessibility standards, and digital learning initiatives. The expectations placed upon us are continually evolving, requiring ongoing training, policy implementation, and reporting to ensure we remain in compliance. The consequences of non-compliance are severe and could result in penalties, security risks, or lost funding opportunities. To illustrate the scale of our responsibility, I've attached a detailed list in the handout that I had Dana sent you guys that outlines all devices we manage to keep student education running smoothly. The total cost of these devices amount to 1.1 million. However, it is important to emphasize that this list only reflects the physical devices that we support. It does not account for the extensive network infrastructure we maintain, the critical applications and software platforms we manage, or the cybersecurity measures we implement to protect our district's data and systems. These aspects of our work are just as demanding, requiring constant monitoring, troubleshooting, and updates to ensure seamless operations across all sites. Furthermore, I want to express my concern that as the IT director, I was not given the opportunity prior to the day to share the impact this decision would have on our department and the services we provide to the students and the staff. The technology department is an essential to modern education. Any reduction in staffing will create gaps that will affect response times, system maintenance, security oversight, and overall technology-driven student support. Simply put, the demands on the KTJUSD Technology Department continue to grow. The work we do directly supports student learning, school safety, and operational efficiency across the district. Reducing staff at this time would create significant challenges in keeping up with device maintenance, software management, and regulatory requirements. Instead, we should be looking at ways to sustain and strengthen our department to meet the increasing technology needs of our schools. I urge the board to recognize the essential role of the technology department to ensure that we do not lose a currently filled position. The success of our students and the ability of our staff to perform their jobs effectively depend on the technology infrastructure we manage. Your continued support is not only appreciated, but necessary to maintain the high standards we have set for our district's technological capabilities. If you guys have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them.
Good job.
Kimberly Moon.
Hi, Kimberly Moon for Climate Treaty Teachers Association. I just wanted to, you pretty much answered a bunch of my questions, but I do want to ask if we can have some transparency about these positions. I understand this is the time of the year where we clean up the books. If they remain unfilled, it's okay to take them off, reevaluate the position and bring it back next year. But some of them are concerning, like the high school. I understand from a conversation with Jennifer that one may possibly be the Spanish teacher, but the other one, especially if we're having an increase in enrollment next year, then we're going to be down a teacher that would possibly be necessary. So I can't get behind that one if the data says we're going to need it. So I would like to know what that position is. It's hard to advocate for something, but I don't know what it is. So I'm just asking for transparency. As far as the Jack Norton Elementary School,
If this is about student enrollment, I'm just a question, have we surveyed the community? Have we talked to the stakeholders? Have we asked any of the questions about possible increase in enrollment? What's the plan? I understand we need to cut and I understand enrollment and I do empathize with the position that you're in. But have we done our research? Have we done what's necessary in order to make an informed decision about this? RSP teacher, I think we all know cutting that would be unlawful at this point, so I'm just not gonna talk about that one. But outreach coordinator, both of those at Cooper Elementary School, just keep in mind equity. Think about the population, the needs, and those kind of things. So when you make these decisions, think about how it's gonna affect, I don't even know how many kids there, it seems like there's a million of them every day. They're everywhere, so. And we seem to be understaffed every single year, we're starting to deficit, not just certificated staff, but classified staff. English language paraprofessional, 6 hours, 193 days. Do you know what site that's at? Can we at least have some kind of decision, idea where that's gonna be at?
High school.
Okay. The instructional assistant, severely handicapped, 2 positions, 5.8 hours. You know where that is at Alton High School?
What was it, which position?
Okay, so,
Those are ones that are vacant.
okay.
Students no longer go here.
Okay, alrighty. The literacy paraprofessional, 4 positions, 2 hours a day, 195 days.
I'm not.
I don't know.
And we can talk about that later, Kim, we're trying to get through our public. comment.
Okay. So, also, we have all these 0.55, 0.7, 0.25 instructional assistants. So are we gonna, if we eliminate those because they are unfilled, are we gonna come back and revisit that with a position that we can fill?
Yes,
Okay, so let's basically just kind of clean the books there.
right. These were adjustments in the IEP minutes offered to the student.
Okay, so it's ongoing. Okay, thank you for that. Alrighty, bus driver. The question is that contingent on also letting go the Jack Norton teacher? I mean, are those two related in any way, or is that something that is gonna affect? Do we know what route that is?
Currently, it's Trinity Valley.
Okay, thank you for that information. Alrighty. Okay, so you pretty much heard that from everybody else. I just had a few questions. Thank you. Thank you.
Missy Allen, please.
I'm actually really sad to be standing up on this podium tonight like this. I don't know if you know how hard and what we do to beat ourselves up every day in the MTO department. We are very short. When I first started in the MTO department, we had over 22 bus drivers, 3 mechanics, and now here we are, down to 7 bus drivers, 11 routes, 1 mechanic. You have 994 students in our district right now. Very low, very low. Out of those 994 students, we are bringing in over 550 to 610 of the students every day. The position that is on here is not Trinity Valley. It is a district-wide position. And guess where it is being used? The runs that they've asked us to provide and squeeze in some more. 7 bus drivers, 11 routes. Now we're not only gonna affect our special needs some more, this route has been looked a little different because it wasn't a bus driver in it, but it's been a van driver all year this year. So the funding has been getting used to do that. So to take the cut out of there, goodbye that now. Now I'm down to where I need 16 bus drivers a day right now to cover where I'm at. Some of the board members expressed concerns on we don't go up certain areas anymore. 4 years ago, I was already cut 6 positions.
I didn't think I'd be back here at that point. You guys, some of you board members promised me that you would give me back bus drivers if we needed them. I need them. I don't need them cut. I can't even fill my Jack Norton position down there. I'm thankful that the Europe tribe got a transit system to help us, or we would not be running all this year.
Yeah.
Now, to my community that I am sorry that we cannot provide a run for you. My bus drivers make it work. It is stressful every day. I don't have time to come run over here and tell anybody every minute of what we do over there. I take care of that. I make decisions very fast, make choices very quick. That's not even including the field trips we provide for. That is not even including anything. We do this with 7 bus drivers every day, and we have not had to miss runs because we will go in a van. We will do anything we can do to get our babies to this school. I'm very sad that I have to be here to sit here and say this again. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that somebody hasn't come to my department and come visit me and ask me. I actually thought on Friday when I came to a meeting that I was gonna get told, oh my God, how do you guys do that every day with that low amount of people? Somebody in my department cannot even be off. All my bus drivers come and they give up everything they can to make sure that they're there for a bus run so that we're not shorter again because that doubles another person, a triple person. Maybe we've done too good at me not going and canceling and saying, I'm sorry, community, I'm sorry, kids, I can't come today. I just don't have that person here today. Instead, my bus drivers doubled, tripled, and did what they needed to do. All of us run, from my secretary to myself to everybody, and we're still short. And the building that I'm in today it runs at 175 degrees in the summer. That's an oven. We have 2 cooling spots in there. I feel like that we're not being appreciated where we are. We're the hub of this district. We run the maintenance, transportation, and operations every day. We don't whine. They come in every day. They do what they're supposed to. They hardly ever cry. They double up on everything and they don't complain because we love our babies and we try to get them to school. We're still bringing in the most of our kids, of our attendance. But yet we're still here with this. I'm surprised that I have another position on here being cut. And the mechanic too, I can see why you maybe looked at that again, because we weren't able to fill it. We've had 2 bus driving classes, and guess how long it took us to finally get a bus driver by the time they finally went through everything that it requires to be a bus driver. We finally got one. Wednesday, he finally completed since September. Now what do I have for you? Nothing. I'm just, I'm sad.
Thank you, Kate.
Hi, guys. No, I'm gonna get up here and pretend like I don't know you guys. Taught some kids, doing a great job, Frank. I can't believe what you have pulled off. We're all community members and there is no doubt about that. I mean, a lot of us know each other. So I'm a kind of a big picture kind of person. And I just looked at that little list and I could tell that half of it had the word handicapped on it. Not a good look, not a good look. So first of all, we'll deal with that. And second of all, do you remember when United Airlines redid the whole airlines? What they did? They did it backwards. They went to the boots on the ground. Well, you're looking at the grunts. Here we all are. These are your boots on the ground. And if you have any questions, reach out to us, come into our classroom. But before you make this decision about Molly, go into her classroom and go into Lucy's and simply walk the walls. Because by the time you're done, you're gonna be like, oh, that was a long time. It's amazing. And I can't go to the store without 50 million people I don't even know, because I only know kids. I don't know all these parents, but they know I'm Lucy's mom. You gotta tell Lucy, and they'll say the same thing over and over. I'm gonna get a t-shirt that says, my kid wouldn't have graduated without you. My kid wouldn't have graduated without Lucy. I have kids come out. Delayed, I wouldn't have graduated without Lucy. All these kids. And with Molly, the exact same. Jackie Alford and I were talking and she said, no, she would have never gotten through without Molly. And Loster's doing really good now. So this big family is actually connected to this big family. And we're all in this big community together. And in the end, money is cheap. It comes and it goes, and whatever you got, you usually spend it. But a child is precious. So I don't come up here without a solution. My solution is get into that administration and begin to cut down all the people who are making a lot of money, get them retired, and start the cutting in administration. And then bring that to us and said, okay, we bit the bullet. We did it. Okay, now there's some things got to go on your side. But if we can't see that you haven't already bit the bullet, well, this is a little off from the kids. Here's the kids. At 6 o'clock every night, I am in my pajamas and my bathrobe and my slippers. By 7 o'clock, my husband's saying, stop falling asleep or just go to bed. But I'm here. Good night.
Susan O'Gorman. How did I know?
I came here tonight, when I first heard about this agenda topic from my sister Molly, I immediately went to my email and to look at the agenda. And I was really surprised that agenda item 9.4 didn't really contain much of a description of what's happening here tonight. The California Brown Act requires that agenda items contain a brief description of what's happening in your meetings. The agenda item should have stated, staff recommends, and this is only for 9.4, which is what personally concerned me the most, but the other agenda item is obviously important. The staff recommends the following positions are discontinued. An RSP teacher and 2 other teachers at Hoopa High. We still don't know which ones those are. 1 teacher at Jack Norton, the music teacher at the River Schools, and a language teacher at Hoopa High. Board to vote on resolution 2025-03. Something like that. More information. After that surprise on the agenda topic, I looked up the agenda packet on your website. I was very surprised to find that there was only a resolution. There wasn't a staff report at all on this topic of this nature and this size. And given that this topic, as is evident by the amount of people who are here tonight, you as a board deserve a staff report on this topic. I was going to ask if the board has gotten any of the information on this topic already that wasn't on the website. I was going to ask you that, but what is evident by the points that were made by Ms. Locke regarding ed code and the various numbers, one of you asked for those numbers. You guys should have been given that in a report already. And what Ms. McConnell, her questions asked in terms of some specifics, and there were no answers to be made, that should have been in a report. You as board members should have a staff report on a topic of this nature. I work at the Willow Creek Community Services District, and granted, it's much smaller than what you all have to deal with here, but to spend $10,000, I have to write a staff report to ask for that money. And to ask this kind of money, you should have a staff report and you should request it. Thank you.
Laura Davis.
Hello, my name is Laura Davis. I'm the CSEA Labor Relations Representative. I wanted to thank the board and the superintendent for hearing me, and I want to thank everybody else in this room for giving space for me. I'm not a community member, but I'm here to stand up for the classified service, serves the students, the community as well. So let me see this. All right, we got 17.7%. That is a number in the 23-24 school year of students who had met or exceeded literacy required expectations. 17.7%. This last year, we saw a multiple percent increase in that literacy. Or that year, we saw a multiple percent increase over the year before. And now we're looking at removing 4% for 4 positions of literacy paraprofessionals, which is very concerning because we finally started to see that number changing in the right direction. And when we're removing these positions, where's that work going to go? And I mean, I have to consider that in all of these positions. I also really want to consider the demographics of students that are at this school, right? Krupa is a very unique, wonderful, small community. 80% of the students on average between the school sites are Native American or Alaskan Native students, right? Which is 10 times higher than Humboldt County as a whole. And Humboldt County is already 20 times higher than the state as a whole. So it's very important right here, right now, as somebody, I'm trying to remember, the fella in the green polo shirt had mentioned that communities of color are impacted more negatively, right? And so I just want to point out that everybody here at the front of this room, I don't envy your position because this is a difficult time to be having to make decisions. I know that nobody up there is thinking, let's cut these positions, right? It's a grave decision to have to make, especially because I feel like you get elected to this position or chosen as superintendent because you have a mindfulness about the community that you're working in. And you have this ability to see like these things in a more holistic way, right? So I don't envy your position, but I will say that it's hard to look at this list of people because this is positions, and some of them are vacant, but for the most part, these are people that are no longer going to be showing up at your schools to do the work that they're doing. And everybody who's at the school, I can guarantee you my last job, I worked at a school, everybody worked their butt off. It is such a labor of sacrifice and love for your children, for your community, and for the world at large, because it's a way that we can impact the future in a really amplified way. So it's really hard to see this list of people who won't be returning to school if this resolution passes and then the district decides to actually move on laying these people off. Moreover, as a labor representative, something I have to consider is who's going to do this work, right? And everybody in the room is already overworked, already overstressed. And so, as many people have pointed out, adults will lose out because they'll be losing these positions. But the biggest impact is to our children. The most vulnerable group of people who have to be at home when their parents say they're at home. They're told everything in a child's life is dictated to them. And we in this room have the ability to say, I have the capacity and the power to really advocate for these youth, to say, no way are you taking people away from my children that are helping them succeed at school. And so I just want to remind everybody in this room, it can seem like you're backed up against a wall where you're seeing budget cuts and maybe there are things to be fearful of. But I want to remind you that especially in a community so small as this, it's more important that we focus on love because love is greater than fear, right? And if we make this decision and cut positions that impact children and families in our community, then we're letting fear take hold when we have an over 30% reserve in this district. And the point of the reserve is to actually provide this buffer, right? It's not to just keep getting bigger and keep it near $30 million. The point of that is so that we can maintain our schools. If budgeting gets really messed up, we have the money to continue that. But the wonderful thing, you've done great work maintaining this reserve. And now is really the time to take that reserve and positively impact your community.
Rachel, motion?
Keep going.
Hi, my name is Rachel and I'm here tonight as a parent. My daughter is autistic and has ADHD. She is brilliant in some areas and struggles in others. She doesn't always advocate for herself. She doesn't always ask for help. She needs support. Not because she isn't capable, but because our system isn't built for students like her. And she is not alone. And the staff her support staff of all these teachers like Lucy and Molly, that's where she gets her support because the system is not built for people like her. And that is adjusted with people like Lucy and Molly and all their support staff. This district is considering eliminating critical special education positions in our schools. Let me be absolutely clear. This is not just cutting positions, this is cutting lifelines. John Dewey said, education is not preparation for life, education is life itself. If this is true, if education isn't just stepping stones, but the foundation of how our children grow, adapt, and find their place in the world, then why are we making it harder for students who need the most support to access it? Our special education students don't just benefit from these resources, they depend on them. Their IEPs, legal documents, not suggestions, often state that they have the right to those supports. So tell me, what happens when most of those supports are erased? What happens when students who already struggle to fit into the world that wasn't made for them suddenly have nowhere to go? We cannot claim to support equity while gutting the very services that ensure disabled students can learn alongside their peers. If this decision moves forward, I guarantee you, parents like me will demand IEP meetings, file compliance complaints, and hold this district accountable for failing our kids. We aren't just advocating for our own children, we're standing up for every student who has ever been told to just figure it out when the system refuses to meet them where they are. So I ask you, and I urge you to rethink this, to remember that budgets don't educate children, teachers do. Support staff do, and special educators do. These teachers are not extra, they are essential. And all the support staff and the bus drivers and the tech support that assist do that too. They are essential, and if you remove them, you aren't just balancing a budget, you're failing every student who needs them. Because at the end of the day, our school district will not just be judged on how well it balanced the books, it'll be judged on whether it did right to its most vulnerable students. All right.
Fire Sanchez. Fire Sanchez.
Hello, Pam, my name is Fury Sanchez. I'm coming to address the school board in outrage and heartbreak. I graduated from Temple High in the class of 2024, with the help of Lucy Law. And I'm confident that many other students can say the same. I was not enrolled in Lucy's class, but she made it a safe space for me to express my educational needs and helped me throughout all 3 years of in-person schooling. I'm now in college and I'm here to fight so many other students can say the same. My younger sister is currently in her class because she has an IEP. My sister has a genius and creative mind, and Lucy's class has helped her find an outlet to express this. Special education has been taboo in this community for too long. Potentially minimizing this department will ruin the bright future for so many students. Students who learn differently and who have learning disabilities deserve the proper education. Lucy and Molly are valued and needed at this school and in this community. Cutting these resources is not my only concern. Potentially eliminating positions at Hoopa High School will drive that school into the ground. The teachers we have left have given so much to the school. You will be ruining the flow of the school. You will be ruining relationships with students and teachers and the future of minds of the community that you work for. Students and families of this community have fought so hard to end the cycle of missed educational opportunities. And executing this plan will continue this. You are putting these teachers and students in a corner, giving us no other options. I want to encourage the school board not to make this mistake. I want to advocate for every single one of these teachers and staff members at our schools in the Klamath Trinity District. As a concerned member of this community, I would like to end this by saying I'd rather this district have teachers who help mold these minds than a superintendent who profits off their back.
Stan Lewis.
Yes.
Hey, my name is Kenneth Stone Lewis, and I'm here to show support as a student who graduated last year in 2024. I would like to just point out that we are already deprived of the maximum support needed in our education. Taking away what we already have is depriving us of the capability to accomplish what we need to accomplish with our children. Taking to hand the relationships that have been built with these teachers over the years, the experience these teachers have achieved to be able to work the way they do with these kids. Not many people are able to do what they do on a day-to-day basis. My brother, who attends the elementary, is on the spectrum and will be attending high school in a couple years. I fear that he is not going to have the same support and opportunity that me and my friends grew up on. We need to keep our teachers, we need to keep these relationships, and we need to keep our education going strong. Our youth is our future. Thank you.
Sloan McKelvey.
Hello, my name is Sloan McKelvey, and I am the TRIO Talent Search College Access Advisor, and I'm also a part-time substitute teacher. But I'm also a mother to, as well as the legal guardian to my 8th grade sister who attends Hoopa Elementary School. I graduated from Hoopa High back in 2015, and it brings me joy that so many of my teachers are still over there. I also want to speak up because it has not been easy juggling all of my responsibilities. When I first took on this job, I lost my mother. Tomorrow will be her 3-year anniversary. On February 4th, I lost my grandmother. My plans to go to work every day is to see the people from my past who taught me so much and uplifted me to go far and beyond, but also to help the children of the future. If it wasn't for the program TRIO, I don't know where I'd be. I would not definitely be the powerhouse that I am now. I am also a resource, hired by the university to make a difference in my community. But how can I, when I offer my services
but don't get help to back my students. I have a caseload of over 120 students in this district. This is just Hoopa High and Captain John alone. I also serve middle school, except for Orleans and Wishbeck, just because of the distance and being one person. But I substitute teach over there. I offer field trips, college tours, and college prep workshops. I partner with similar programs that have done so much to help, such as K-16 Collaborative Grant Program that offers 8th graders an awesome experience called the High School Readiness Retreat, where they get the opportunity to stay in the dorms at Cal Poly Humboldt, just like Upward Bound students. And this was sorry, I lost track. We've been successful to have this opportunity for the past 2 years. The juniors now talk about how awesome this was, and they tell me what they want to do once they get out of high school. Except we didn't get to offer this opportunity to the class of 2024. And this was because of a similar situation of jumping the gun. And this was because of, to be fair, this was the safety of our children. But if you remember last year, there were protests due to the Palestine and Free Gaza occupation that occurred in April. Their trip was supposed to take place in mid-June 2024. And did you know that our district was the only one that didn't participate in this great experience? And did you know that it was pretty heartbreaking for me to be the one to give those 8th graders that news? I had to give them that news. And I talked so much about this trip because I was also the long-term sub for their 8th grade math teacher. And I'll have you guys know, my degree is in art education. I am not good at math whatsoever. I struggled in high school. And their teacher was gone for paternity leave. And so, now please be aware, I had to carry this all on my own, on my shoulders. I am a lifelong learner who loves my tribe, my community. Like my mother who served on council, I know how important it is to speak up for our most vulnerable people. But I have babies to care for, a sister to guide, and I have cousins who are also first gen that need resources that are offered. I partner with Lucy, Molly, and Soklo to give them extra help. But if they're gone, will it just be me, myself, and I? I'm constantly asked when I'll be an educator or get hired on, but I can't when I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old who usually has their classes closed last minute due to being short-staffed. And we've hired somebody from Trio to be a teacher here, and I've heard that he's not going to get his contract renewed. And that's pretty discouraging, being that he's a part-time archaeologist. So why should I come back? And yeah, that is all I really have to share. Yeah.
Connie Kane.
Hello, my name is Connie Kane and I'm working in the library. And I see kids from all classes, all different teachers, different classes, different families, different tribes. Everybody in our community funnels through the library. I don't know if you people are aware that this community is grief-stricken, as you can see by the people that have come here tonight to pour out their hearts to you. These kids feel what's going down in this community. They hear about grief, they hear about loss in their households. They're dealing with it in their households. We are their constant.
Yeah.
We pick them up at 7:30 in the morning. The same bus driver greets them good morning. They go and they see Tracy in the cafeteria, who provides a wonderful breakfast and lunch. One person, how many kids? 200 and some kids. But she does it because she loves the kids. They go to their classrooms, they're good, they see their teachers, things are routine, they are normal. They go on to the next one, they go to lunch, they come through. Everybody that they go to see is somebody they're familiar with in these different departments that are being cut, and they trust them. They go and they get their devices fixed. They go and they get a snap from outreach. They're falling apart. Somebody sees them, but it's confidential. So we get together and we figure out how we're going to get this child that's a 988 threat to the wellness center without everybody knowing, because it's private. There's not enough people to protect these children. We have over 40 positions that are not filled. They're not filled because we are not a good employer. We don't pay people enough, we don't value them, and we don't give them enough time to work here to make a living. And that's sad. The people that show up every day, they show up because they love these kids, because they have an investment in this community. We have our most precious resource over there, and we are fighting over money that we have sitting in the bank. This is a bad plan. I can tell by looking at your faces, there are several things that are brought up here tonight that you guys didn't know about. It's a bad plan. We weren't given even the benefit of a discussion, even asked how our children feel, my nieces, my nephews, my friends' families, their nieces, their nephews, their grandchildren, their children. Some of you know how this district treats you. You know, Terry, you know, you were the hardest working woman I ever worked with, and they ran you off and they made it miserable for you. These are the same people that are dealing with us, and it's not fair. Our kids are hurting. They need their constant routine. They need the people they trust. We provide food, we provide clothing, we provide snacks, we answer our phone 24/7. We do everything we can to get these children through whatever we can do to send them home happy and hope for the best they're gonna come back the next day. We're trying to get attendance, but there's no path for us. How do I increase attendance? There is absolutely no path for my success to get a child there. I'm not in that realm. So to say that to us, that we need to do that, it's not realistic. We're doing the best we can. For the positions that aren't filled, these people are filling those positions for no money, no more extra time, but they're doing it. They're doing it on the run. They're possibly getting a 20-minute break because they got things to do. They have kids coming to the staff lounge, asking them for help. They get up and they go. We are not enemies. We are all the same community. This is a bad plan. We have money, we can keep things going. These cuts are not coming from the federal government. For those of you listening out there, these are not coming from the government. They are not coming from the state. They are coming from here. And we have money in the bank to avoid it. This is just the tip of the iceberg, people. You are pushing good, hardworking, loving people too far. And it's not a good plan. Let's revisit it next year. We have the money. Come over and see these kids. Come spend time with us. We want you to see how beautiful these kids are, how important they are, and how much all these people do for them. Come over and be our friends. Come and help us. See what's going on over there. And you'll feel so good about your decision tonight to no cuts, period. And if we're going to talk about cuts realistically, are they going to start at the top? Because why do the lowest people on the whole scale have to take all the cuts? And why do we have to absorb it? Let's start at the top. Let's really show that we're dedicated to what's good for this. Let's cut the top too, if we're going to do it. But we don't have to. We have the money. The kids just help us. This is not going to help. Having people leave that they look forward to seeing every day is not the direction we want to go in. It's a wrong decision, and it's going to have a ripple effect. It's the tip of the iceberg. We cannot forget about why we're here, and that's the kids, not money.
right, thank you. We're gonna go into closed section now at 7:12. Please, thank you.
Community activity, this is for you, not them. You were awesome tonight in your orations and trying to